Today, we're tackling something that, well, most of us instinctively try to avoid, maybe even dread: failure.
Mm-hmm. We definitely don't like talking about it much.
Right. We see it as this negative thing, something to hide. But what if, and hear me out, what if failure is actually essential for success?
Yeah, it's the big question, isn't it? How is it actually indispensable?
Exactly. So our mission today in this deep dive is to look at some sources that suggest something pretty counterintuitive.
Which is?
That embracing failure, really understanding it, could be a shortcut to getting smarter, faster, and, actually hitting those big goals.
Yeah, moving beyond that feeling that failure just means game over.
Totally. We want to challenge that gut reaction.
And this really matters for you, listening right now.
Mm-hmm.
Understanding this productive side of failure, it's about learning faster.
Right.
Seeing problems from different angles and getting those aha moments without feeling totally overwhelmed. It's a mindset shift, really.
Okay, let's unpack this a bit then. Why do we have such a strong, gut reaction against failing?
Well, there's the obvious stuff, right?
Like embarrassment, feeling like you're just not good enough.
Exactly. That immediate sting, the hit to your ego. But it goes deeper, awfully into cognitive biases.
How so?
Well, we tend to think our successes are all us, our skill. But failures, oh, that was bad luck or someone else's fault. It's called attribution bias.
Ah, okay. And that stops us learning.
Pretty much. Because we're not looking at our own role in it. But here's a really interesting thing. Failure isn't the opposite of success.
It's part of it.
It's an integral part of it. Think of it like feedback. Really potent feedback that success, well, it often doesn't give you.
Because when things work, you don't always know exactly why they worked.
Precisely. Failure shines a spotlight on what isn't working. Success can kind of hide the messy steps it took to get there.
That's a great point. Success hiding the process, failure showing it. Let's take Daniel, the baker. His first bakery, closed in 6 months.
Yeah, a classic case. Poured his heart into it. But by any standard metric, a failure.
Bad location, no real advertising, menu was too small.
And that's where the learning kicked in. That failure wasn't just an ending. It was data, actionable feedback.
So he didn't just give up.
No, it forced them back. He did a proper postmortem, spent, 2 years studying the market, fixing his plan, figuring out customers.
And the second bakery worked?
It thrived. Not despite the first failure, but directly because of it. He knew exactly what needed fixing thanks to that painful first lesson, like an accidental experiment on his own business.
Okay, or think about Fatima. She started an online shop, handmade scarves, beautiful stuff, great photos.
But no sales. Months went by, nothing. That's tough.
Really tough. Could easily just crush your motivation.
Absolutely. But she didn't just, throw in the towel. She went looking for answers, talked to other sellers, asked for advice.
And what did she find?
Turns out her prices were way off of the market.
Mm-hmm.
And the website, kind of a pain to use.
Ah, practical stuff.
Very practical. And because she was willing to see those failures, the price point, the website issues as direct feedback, she could fix them, overhauled the whole thing.
And then?
Within a year, she was shipping scarves internationally to 5 different countries. It just shows how that specific feedback from failure helps you adjust course, turns a dead end into, a runway.
So failure gives feedback, helps you course correct, but does it also build something, deeper, like resilience, character?
Oh, absolutely. Facing setbacks, it forces you to develop what psychologists often call grit, that perseverance, that passion for the long haul.
Okay.
Think about Ahmed.
Yeah.
He was studying for this really tough English exam, studied hard, felt prepared.
And failed the first time.
Yep. Failed it.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a point where it's really easy to quit, isn't it?
For sure. You'd think, maybe English just isn't for me.
Exactly. But Ahmed, he didn't take it as like a judgment on his basic ability. He saw it as information.
So what did he do?
He went back to his teacher, asked why he failed, what specifically went wrong. He changed how he studied, practiced speaking every day, listened to English podcasts constantly.
Deliberate practice.
Precisely. That first failure didn't just say you failed. It gave him a map, showed him how to improve. And when he finally passed, it wasn't just about the grade. It was about the growth, the discipline he'd built.
And it's not just exams, right? I mean, Look at Sophia and Kareem trying to grow vegetables in their backyard.
Oh, yeah. Their first attempt was, let's just say, not very fruitful.
Planted at the wrong time, watered wrong, nothing grew. They apparently laughed about it later.
Which is actually really important, not taking it too personally. Many people would just say, well, I guess I have a black thumb.
Mm-hmm.
But they treated it like an experiment. Okay, attempt, 1 failed. Why? They read gardening books, talked to neighbors who knew their stuff, adjusted everything for the next try.
And the second garden?
Flourished. They had so much produce they were giving it away. It's a perfect example of how sticking with it, even after failing, builds patience, commitment. That's character, resilience, in action.
It's also kind of amazing how failure can sometimes push you onto a totally different path, maybe even a better one, like Lisa.
Right, the graphic designer.
Yeah, she really wanted to be a graphic designer, applied for jobs, kept getting rejected.
Which must have been incredibly frustrating.
Totally. But what's fascinating, like you said, is how those rejections made her stop and think.
A forced reflection.
Yeah. She realized, wait a minute, what I really love isn't necessarily doing the design work myself, but teaching other people how to use the software.
So the failures led to self-discovery.
Exactly. She ended up starting her own successful online business teaching design skills, a path she probably never would even considered if she'd gotten one of those early design jobs.
It shows how failure can force you to pivot, maybe find something you're even better suited for or more passionate about.
And Sarah, too, remember her story. Organized a community event, or maybe it was a crafts business, started out with really low attendance, poor sales.
Right, another initial flop. But again, not just a bad result. It was a trigger.
A trigger for what?
For rethinking everything. How was she communicating? Was her marketing hitting the right people? It pushed her to get creative, try different approaches, build connections.
So she developed new skills because the first attempt didn't work.
Exactly. Problem solving, strategic thinking, marketing. Essential skills that often only get honed when plan A falls flat.
And you know, thinking about asking for help, failure can be pretty humbling, right? Makes you more open to support.
That raises a really important point. In a world that often pushes self-reliance, failure kind of forces collaboration sometimes. Take Robert.
The guy trying to fix his car?
Yeah. Tried to fix it himself. Messed it up even worse. Car wouldn't run at all.
Oh, man. I can feel the frustration and the potential embarrassment of asking for help then.
Totally. But he had to. He swallowed his pride, asked his neighbor, who happened to be a mechanic.
And the neighbor helped.
Yep. Not only did Robert learn a ton about fixing cars, but they actually became good friends through it. That failure, that moment of needing help, it built a relationship. It shows how humility opens doors.
And Anna, learning English, she tried doing it all alone at first.
Felt discouraged. Wasn't doing well on tests. Hitting a wall.
Until she changed tactics.
Right. Those struggles made her realize maybe going it alone wasn't the best way. She joined an English learning group.
Ah, community.
Exactly. Suddenly she had people to practice with safely, get feedback, learn from others' questions too. That support system, born out of her initial struggles, let her improve way faster. Shows the power of not trying to do everything solo.
It really is fascinating how these moments, these failures, when you actually process them, add so much depth that even changes how you feel about success later, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. Makes you appreciate it more. Sophie, for instance, that difficult exam she failed.
Not once, but twice. She said she felt totally defeated.
Imagine. But her mother kept encouraging her. She buckled down for 3 more months, and when she finally passed on the 3rd try,
It must have felt amazing.
more than amazing, she described it as this overwhelming joy, this deep gratitude. Because she'd struggled so hard that success felt truly earned, sacred almost.
She actually said, if I had passed the first time, I would not feel this proud.
Right. The failure made this moment more special. It built her belief in herself, her self-efficacy, because she overcame something significant.
And Jack, opening his restaurant, he had a rough start too, right?
Oh, yeah. Mistakes at the menu, staffing issues, pricing was off. Typical startup chaos.
He didn't bail.
No, he saw those early mistakes as critical data points. He learned, adapted, worked incredibly hard, refined everything based on what wasn't working.
And eventually,
His restaurant became super popular, a local favorite. His story just hammers home how failure teaches the real value of hard work, of adapting, of the sheer effort needed for real, lasting success. Easy come, easy go.
Right.
Failure makes you appreciate the grind.
you know, on that note, I wanted to share something personal quickly. From our research notes, it was about learning English.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Oh, the mistakes I used to make. Forgetting words halfway through a sentence, just totally butchering pronunciation, getting grammar all tangled up. It was embarrassing sometimes.
I think anyone learning a language knows that feeling.
Right. That fear people will think you're, I don't know, not smart or something. But I had to push through it. Kept practicing, listening really hard, talking with friends, listening to podcasts, reading.
Immersing yourself.
Totally. I even started recording myself talking just to hear where the mistakes were so I could actually pinpoint them and fix them.
That takes guts, listening back to yourself.
It felt weird at first, but over time, the improvement was real. And those little failures, the mispronounced word, the forgotten verb, they weren't roadblocks. They were signposts, showing me exactly what needed work. It built confidence, not just in English, but in the whole learning process itself.
That's a fantastic example.
So now, think about something in your own life, something that didn't quite go to plan. Could be a big project, could be a job interview that went, sideways, or even something smaller, like trying to wake up early consistently.
Mm-hmm.
What did you really learn from that? Not just, oh, that was bad, but what specific insight did you get? And knowing that now, what would you do differently next time? Even a tiny adjustment.
It's about extracting the lesson, isn't it?
Exactly, because what we've really seen today is that failure isn't this brick wall it feels like sometimes. It's not the end. It's more like a door, maybe an uncomfortable door.
Often uncomfortable.
But it opens up new ways of seeing things, new possibilities. If you're willing to push it open, learn from what's inside, and just keep moving.
So maybe the final thought for everyone listening is this. What's one failure, big or small, that genuinely taught you something important, something that shifted your perspective?
Yeah.
Because remember, success isn't about avoiding failure altogether. That's impossible. It's about how you get back up, strategically, intelligently, every single time.
Keep going. Keep learning from those bumps in the road. And remember, you're definitely not alone in this. Everyone stumbles. But not everyone gives up.